Hello everyone, I'm Yi. Today I want to share some of my opinion about learning. Of course, this is assignment of this week. So we want to talk about how do people learn and how can learning theory inform teaching. So let's get started. Honestly, we have to say people can learn. We learn a lot of things. We learn how to read, no matter just the character or some words. And also sometimes we can read some people's their facial expression. We have to read between the line. It's also very important. And also we learn share. So we can help each other. That is what we want to talk about next. We help and in the beginning, maybe we don't know how to do that, but we also, through the process of learning, we can do that. And we also learn so we can improve our life. For example, like this picture, because I remember one time that I went to a store, I want to cancel one of the service there. And in the beginning, traditionally people just take the number, right? But there it's different. They use a very modern, fancy device. So you just go in and sign your name, and then your name will show on the screen. Actually, I will say technically it doesn't change a lot, but somehow because of the totally different device, and you can see your name, particularly on the screen, it still comfort you a little bit, and you think, okay, I'm so modern now, but I still needed to learn, right? If I don't know how to use that, maybe I just wait and wait. I don't know everybody where are you doing there. So we also learn, and that help us to improve. And also because we learn, so we can create. So we have to say people learning every day. So let's go back to the very basic and critical question. We learn through what? A lot of people they talk about nowadays we use our sensory organized to recognize a lot of things. So people they can learn through the eye seeing, the hearing. Some people also use their nose to smell or their tongue to taste. I know that some cooks they really have very wonderful, excellent nose and the tongue. They can remember all the tests they have tested before. So that is really good. And also we have to recognize some people they learn through some kind of we say that muscle memory. So they have a lot of hands-on experience. That kind of process can help them to improve a lot. That's why I think maybe some so-called second language teacher, they know the totally physical reaction theory. That kind of a method can help the student to understand, because usually the teacher will demonstrate some kind of word. For example, like wrong. The teacher they will wrong and say wrong. So the student they have to mimic the behavior, and later on they connect to the wrong, like an action to the word. And because they move, and they also see, they hear. So all of this kind of a combination to help them memorize or convert that kind of memory into the long-term memory. And they also know what does that mean and what kind of situation they can utilize. So people use so many kind of organ to learn. That's how we learn, right? But also learning is not so simple. I have to say self-reflection is also very important. Of course, that's because this week we read this book. I have to say thanks to this book. So I realized that, okay, sometimes we have to think about something. Maybe it takes time, but when we revise or review that, oh, okay, we can get some kinds of a point. That we didn't really have during the processing of the learning. But later on, when we reflect that, okay, we got it. And also, some scientists, they mention about the human brain is kind of muscle. So if you don't really use one part, maybe they just lose that kind of capability easily. So when you do the self-reflection, it means maybe, okay, I take something from the storage again, I use that again, and then I put it back. So back and forth, that can help people to use their brain thoroughly. And it's also a very good way to learn. And then I have to say, some people they learn from feedback. It's very important because, like Chinese people, I'm a Taiwanese, but we also share the same concept that we Chinese people, we say like we don't like to lose the face. So usually, maybe sometimes we presentation, we present something, and after the presentation, we don't really want to hear any feedback because we are afraid so much that we will lose the face. But actually, no, it is not correct because feedback in that moment maybe embarrassed you, but that's how you remember that so clearly. So you won't make the mistakes second times. I think that is very important too. So since we understand that, okay, we learn through the feedback and also some self-reflection, and also through our, sensory organize that people will ask about that, how can the learning information teaching, the practice? We have to say through this week, we read the book, and that's very good because I believe most teacher or maybe pre-teacher, they recognize that the environment is really very important to the student, especially when they have a very, they are in a good mood, or maybe some teacher, they will hook their student, and then they have very strong the motivation to want to learn something. Usually in that kind of situation, kids, they can use their brains very efficiently. So this book, they talk about like how our brain function, and we have to also take some factor into our accounts like emotion. So we usually use in our totally life that vicissitude, but we always remember the highest point and the lowest point in events in our life. But in the school, of course, we don't really want to provide a student the lowest kind of, that kind of point of the events or experience. We hope the kids, they can really understand that, and in a very relaxed or encouraging environment. But why? And because I think it's really very important. Think about that now. Because the internet, now we know lots of tons of events happening at the same time, every minute, every second. So it's terrible. Why I say it's terrible? Because sometimes when you go to the bed and when you wake up the next morning, you realize, oh my God, there are more than millions events happening last night, but you don't know that, right? So it means that it seems that we have a lot of things to learn, but how? I mean, can you do that? Don't sleep 24/7? No, of course not. So for the most teacher, they have to figure out a way. And also, like the teacher recommend this week, I print out one article, and I think that is really very good. New literacy, the instruction in teacher education. In the beginning, I think, okay, it just kind of sounds skill. But no, actually, after reading that, I recognize, okay, actually, it's kind of a concept. We have to aware this world changing so fast, and not only about you, it's also about all the world, because everything they can have a ripple effect or the butterfly effect, So it's quite important. And what we can do if we really understand people how to learn some new event, we can use a very efficient way to backward design our instruction, our curriculum. So it's very important. And I believe that the teacher also need to prepare lots of skill, technique to cater to the future. So I can share some my own opinion. I believe that no matter the pre or in-service teacher, a safe and encouraging environment is really very important. And also, because that kind of environment can give the student that kind of strength. They want to discover more, and they think that it's really very, safe. No matter what I say, no matter what I see or what I think, if I can bring it up, maybe I can get more response from not only the teacher but also the classmates. And because that kind of environment, we can know our student more. Because that's really very good because kids they feel safe and they know no matter what they say, the teacher always can give them some suggestion. So that is really very good. And that's why I can speak like now. All right. Also, the well-designed instruction is also very important. Since we said about like we mentioned about there are so many things to learn. Where we really guide the student to the direction that what we want, or do we really understand they build that kind of basic knowledge? What is their prior, knowledge before this class? And after this class, can they really understand the meaning, the essential question, the essential skill, the knowledge? Because we just pave the way for the future. So it's kind of a chain. If you can really set a very good fundamental, skill or knowledge for them, later on they can utilize that. So I would say the third one, the positive attitude, they all connect to each other actually. I think well-designed instruction and with a very positive attitude, because it's a kind of student-centered environment now. Sometimes we have to pay attention to their need, and the teacher have to, we Chinese people say like it's kind of cultivation. You have to very calm and not only deal with the student. I believe so. I mean, you have to deal with the student, but you also have to deal with the parents, your school, your colleagues, your district policy or your state policy. I know it's really very difficult, but try to keep the positive attitude, because one day when you look back, you will realize, okay, or maybe some liberty on the TV, you say, oh, that is my student. And when he got an interview, he said, oh, in my whole life, I have a teacher because one time he or she told me like blah, 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 blah. So I think that's really very important. Okay, sorry. I missed out one part about a well-designed instruction. Why I say that? Because honestly, nowadays a student gets so many, stimulation from the TV, the cell phone, the computer, of course. So sometimes not every teacher like me so hyper all the time. They need to have a set some, instruction or curriculum or lesson plan to help them. And because that kind of a designed curriculum, they can share, they can follow that step by step, so they can have high up and down, like kind of we could say that kind of plot, and they can track the students' attention. So that is also very important. And the last one, I want to say enough time. I create that one. That is my experience, because sometimes the student don't really have any reaction or response in that moment during the process. But later on, you have to have that kind of confidence. They will know one day if you really have very positive attitude and you do something to them in their life. But trust them, just give them some time. They have to digest or consume a lot, and later on internalize that, become one of their parts, and they will really understanding. So to me, that is the sharing about how do people learn and how can learning theory inform teaching. Bye bye.